Triple Crown race contender until last week. What is it about Coffee with Chris that this all came to be, and what's so special about this horse?
Well, we were heading for the Tessio, and the Tessio is a win and you're in. So we paid the $6,000 late fee to be in the Triple Crown, and we were hoping we'd win. And we got beat 2 lengths in the race, and the more I thought about it, letting 2 lengths separate me from the chance of a lifetime, we just come up with the money and we took the shot, and hopefully everything works out good for us.
Obviously, it's very special to you that you train, work everything out of Laurel, have run Coffee with Chris at Pimlico. Is there any advantage to kind of having those Maryland connections and knowing these tracks?
Well, the Laurel and Pimlico track are very familiar, very similar. So, I know he'll handle it. He ran at Pimlico. I think he got in a little trouble there, got put up or something, if I remember correctly. But he runs hard every time. And, the distance, he just keeps going. I never thought he'd go a mile, and he did. And then he went a mile and 16th, and he win. And then a mile and 1/8. He got beat 2 lengths the other day, and nothing went his way. He was on the lead, and I'm not so sure that's where he wants to be. But there's not much speed in this race, and Pimlico's speed favoring, so I think we'll be up close, and hopefully he'll make a good effort.
Out of the 4 at 20-1, John, thank you so much. Good luck to you on Saturday. Trainer of Coffee with Chris, one of the Preakness contenders out of the 8-horse field. Reporting live in Baltimore County, I'm Morgan Atzett.
Morgan, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, the special counsel investigating the FBI handling of the Trump Russia probe completes his investigation. What he says the FBI never should have done coming up. And teens targeted by violence over the Mother's Day weekend. The suspects are also young. What we're learning about the shootings and the fight to stop juvenile violence.
The mother came and knocked on the door and was like, I need help. Can somebody help me call the ambulance because my daughter was just shot.
3 teens shot on Mother's Day. The calls for change as the teen crime crisis hitting Baltimore continues. And the back and forth continues as well for the Harford County budget, while the sheriff says the county is trying to defund the police. Special counsel John Durham's report into Trump-Russia probe has been released. Coming up, why he says the FBI's investigation was unnecessary.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Mackenzie Frost in for Mary Bubala tonight. In a city in crisis, we're learning more about a 14-year-old girl shot inside a home yesterday. The teen is one of 3 teens to be shot across the city just on Mother's Day. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell spoke with a neighbor who heard the terrifying moment as police speak on the teen gun crisis.
3 teens shot in separate shootings, one fatally, and all on Mother's Day.
I just heard the gunshot real loud, and then it sounded like somebody hit the floor. Then I heard all the kids start yelling and stuff.
Zaida Warren describes the chaotic moments after she heard a gunshot come from her upstairs neighbor's apartment here in Druid Heights.
And the mother came and knocked on the door and was like, I need help. Can somebody help me call the ambulance because my daughter was just shot.
Warren says she called 911. The 14-year-old girl, she says, had been shot in her side.
In her side. They said it was in her side. They said that her and her friend was in there playing with the gun or something, and the gun went off and shot her in the side.
Police say officers took a juvenile into custody. The 14-year-old, one of 3 teens to be shot in Baltimore on Mother's Day. Less than a mile up the road, police say a 16-year-old was shot on Waddy Court. Then an 18-year-old was shot and killed on Bartlett Avenue in East Baltimore. No word on a suspect or motive in either case. So far this year, there have been 10 juvenile homicides and another 34 young people who have been shot and survived.
It's sad because it's so easy for these kids to get guns these days. There's more kids killing kids.
During a crime stat hearing inside City Hall, Baltimore Police Deputy Commissioner Richard Worley acknowledging the teen gun crisis.
Unfortunately, a lot of young people are ending up with guns in their hands.
Like the 17-year-old, police say was armed with a gun before being shot by police last Thursday. According to BPD data, juvenile homicides are up 67%, while non-fatal shootings are up 55% for the year. Worley blaming part of the problem on ghost guns.
Those are just order the gun online, find a couple tools and put the gun together. You got a fully operational.
I just want to take my kids away from here.
In the case of the 14-year-old, Warren says she believes more must be done to get guns out of the hands of children and more resources available to them.
They don't have no rec centers no more. There's no programs. They don't have nothing to do. Kids sitting around, that woman could have lost her child.
Police have not yet identified the 18-year-old who was shot and killed. Again, no arrests have been made. In Baltimore, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
New details on the shooting of a 17-year-old boy by a Baltimore police officer. Baltimore police identifying the shooter as Detective Cedric Ellaby. Officials say last Friday, police approached a 17-year-old Mackay because they believed he was armed. Officers say he then ran and pulled out a gun. Ellaby fired after Mackay refused to drop the weapon, according to police. The teen was taken to the hospital in critical condition, but now described as stable. Detective Ellaby has been placed on administrative leave. Body camera footage of the shooting will be released tomorrow. Shot 17 years ago has died from his injuries. His death now being declared a homicide. BPD says 45-year-old Troy Shaw was shot back in June of 2005 and died recently on May 9th. Shaw's case was added to the homicide database this weekend. The string of robberies around Morgan State University's campus in northeast Baltimore continues. Word tonight, another student was robbed last night along Hillen Road at around 9:30. Campus police tells Fox 45 News 3 armed suspects robbed the victim. This comes just days after our reporting that an alert had been sent out to students warning about criminals preying on students. In fact, one robbery was just an hour after our report took place Thursday night. BPD and campus police are increasing patrols. The budget battle continues in Harford County over proposed funding, but it's not just educators speaking out. Harford County Sheriff is now accusing the county executive of attempting to defund the police. Fox 45's Amy Simpson has the latest on the back and forth and if a potential resolution can be reached.
It's a dynamic that's unusual along party lines. A Republican sheriff at odds with a Republican county executive. But that's the reality right now in Harford County. For Sheriff Jeff Gaylor,
in 9 years of doing this as sheriff,
the budget process and advocating for his agency is no new task. But this year, he says, has been different.
It's an unacceptable budget. A nice way to describe it would be a train wreck right now.
In the 2024 budget proposal, Gaylor says County Executive Bob Casserly removed funding for 2 victim service advocates, a $350,000 line item in the sheriff's office budget.
That's taking money that existed and zeroing it. That is defunding the police, period.
But the sheriff says Casserly also put the brakes on plans for a new Central Precinct Training Academy, a $22 million capital project Gaylor says was already approved 2 years ago by the previous administration.
And now the county executive is not moving forward and has changed his stories countless times on what he's doing, why it's on hold, why he's not moving forward. Every time he opens his mouth, there's a different description of why he's not moving forward.
On Fox 45 Morning News today, the county executive defended his budget proposal.
Everybody's got to live within their means, and I've introduced a fiscally conservative budget that doesn't raise taxes.
And in a statement this afternoon, the county executive's office responding to the sheriff's budget concerns, saying as a state senator, he was the lead voice in Annapolis backing the blue, pointing to his proposal, which would add 10 new deputies and a salary increase next year. The sheriff, after receiving a historic $12 million increase last year, is now asking for an unrealistic increase of $28 million. Casserly said in part, the sheriff's spending request would require a tax increase, which I will not do. We must live within our means.
He's standing in front of Harford County citizens and saying, I'm going to have to raise taxes. It's a lie.
Today, Fox 45 asked the sheriff if his relationship with the county executive can be repaired after this budget battle is over.
You can't redeem yourself from being dishonest. It might work in Annapolis, but bringing Annapolis here to the county executive's office is like bringing Baltimore crime problems to Harford County. It doesn't work here.
And the Harford County Council must approve a final budget by June 15th. That's exactly 1 month from today. In Bel Air, Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
There are new developments in the race for Maryland's soon-to-be vacant U.S. Senate seat. Prince George's County Executive Angela Also Brooks gets another key endorsement. Baltimore County Executive John Olszewski officially endorsed Also Brooks. Last week, Fox 45 reported Olszewski was considering a run himself. Well, now it's clear he won't try to win that seat, instead throwing his support behind the Prince George's County Executive during a news conference he held in Randallstown.
I have found her to be hardworking, laser focused on progress, and always grounded in the communities she serves. She has a passion not just for the work, but for the people she's helping. And she leads with her values.
As an executive, it has given me also the opportunity to understand and to know the people that I represent, which I think is very important. Not only to have a senator who fights for you, to ensure that your family has the opportunity to experience the American dream, but to have a senator who truly understands you and shares your concerns, I believe is extremely important.
Well, 3 other Democrats are vying for the Senate seat as well. Montgomery County Councilmember Will Jawando and activist Jerome Siegel are seen as long shot candidates. Now, the one that experts say you should keep an eye on are Congressman David Trone, who represents Maryland's 6th congressional district, which includes northwestern Montgomery County, Frederick County, and all of western Maryland. While he is yet to pick up major endorsements like Also Brooks, he does have a war chest.
Happening tomorrow, Governor Wes Moore set to sign Senate Bill 1 into law along with several others. SB 1 seeks to limit where legal wear and carry weapon permit holders can bring those firearms in public. There are some questions about whether the bill will stand legal challenges. You can see our prior reporting on this issue right now on our website at foxbaltimore.com. A report years in the making. Coming up, a look into special counsel John Durham's findings on the Trump-Russia probe, where he says the FBI made critical mistakes. And Elon Musk is stuck with a Twitter sitter. Why the billionaire needs approval before hitting tweet on his own app.
And it looks like the LA Angels coming in town, hopefully for a Orioles beatdown as we head into this evening. Temperatures in the 70s, falling into the 60s. The weather is going to be fantastic for baseball here at home. I'm going to let you know how long it's going to hold up and if it does for Preakness in a couple of minutes.
Taking a look now at the Fox Quad Box. Top left, Democratic Congressman Jerry Connolly of Virginia says a person armed with a metal baseball bat attacked members of his staff at his district office. He says the person asked for him before hitting 2 of his employees with the bat. That person in police custody. Local and federal police are investigating. Top right, Tesla CEO Elon Musk losing an appeal that would have allowed him to back out of an agreement requiring his tweets to get approved before posting. The case stems from misleading tweets made by Musk in 2018, leading to shares in Tesla spiking. The settlement with the SEC mandated his tweets have to be screened by the Tesla lawyer. Musk arguing that the decree violates the First Amendment. Bottom left, digital news company Vice Media filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The company says a group of its creditors will buy Vice Media for $225 million and take on significant liabilities. Its media brands, including Refinery 29 and Vice News, will continue to produce content. Bottom right, American household debt surpassing $17 trillion, a new record high. The largest balances were from mortgages and auto loans, as well as student loans. Experts are attributing this to inflation and spending increases. Now to breaking developments in a special counsel's investigation into possible FBI misconduct in its probe of ties between Russia and then-candidate Donald Trump's 2016 campaign. Sinclair's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman joining us live with some key takeaways from John Durham's 300-page report. Scott, tell us what are in those pages.
Well, Mackenzie, the headline is that essentially Durham, the special counsel, special investigator on this, said that the probe should never have taken place, that there weren't grounds for it based on his investigation of that probe, noting eventually a series of FBI missteps and at the Justice Department, saying that investigators relied on what was known as the Steele dossier. We've talked a lot about that. What Durham described as, quote, raw, unanalyzed and uncorroborated intelligence. He's saying that's what all this was based on, and that investigators had also something that he declared as confirmation bias. In other words, he's saying that investigators ignored or kind of rationalized away evidence that didn't support the Trump-Russia conspiracy, and that additionally, he said some of the investigators who were Trump critics may have sped up this investigation, really gone after it much faster than they did, for example, the investigation involving Hillary Clinton.
All right, Scott, so 4 years into what then President Trump said would uncover the crime of the century. Few crimes were uncovered, but plenty of talking points. Looking ahead to Wednesday's House hearing on the weaponization of the federal government, are you expecting this report to be a major topic for both parties?
Sure. I think that you're going to have plenty of Democrats, too, who are going to say this is a concern. Now, the FBI will point out that they put a lot of corrective actions in place quite some time ago. So there have been steps already taken to make sure that this sort of thing, in theory, wouldn't happen again. But yes, you look forward to a hearing like that one that we're going to see on Capitol Hill. And you can only imagine that there are going to be louder calls for the extreme, like defund the FBI, to let's get the FBI director up here to make sure that protocols have changed in the right way. But yes, it's a lot of red meat, especially for people on the right who are saying that the government is way too intrusive and that there were retaliatory investigations against the former president and that those need to end. So you're going to hear a little bit of everything at this hearing.
Scott, it sounds like we'll have a lot to look forward to and a lot to watch on Capitol Hill on Wednesday. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Another issue in Washington to keep an eye on with the direct impact on your finances is the debt limit. You're looking live at the White House, where tomorrow leaders of both parties in the House and Senate are expected to meet with the president. This was supposed to take place last Friday, but was postponed when momentum was building between staffers. However, today, Speaker Kevin McCarthy saying no agreements have been reached. We'll watch this closely.
All right, our Fox triple cast this evening. Upper corner of your screen, you see the Orioles game just about ready to go here in about 20 minutes. Not a little bit less. That's on the Toyota Asiana Harbor Skycam, Mile 1000 cam in the lower portion of your screen. Lots of sun there, and the HD radar showing our latest weather maker. That is just down to our south. That's got some clouds and showers with it, and eventually those are going to spill back north toward us late tonight, the clouds, and by late tomorrow could have some rain. 76 now, Toyota Asiana Harbor Skycam again getting ready to get underway at 6:35 p.m. against the LA Angels. The weather looking fantastic Winds out of the west at 8 miles an hour. Humidity 35%. Dew points in the 40s. That is some nice dry weather. Temperatures pretty much area-wide are in the 70s with a 70 at Denton, 75. Chestertown, the end of the commute now, 76 here in Baltimore, 75 at Westminster, 75 at Frederick. We're at 69, a little bit cooler at the base of the Bay Bridge down Annapolis Way. Temperatures area-wide, they are gorgeous, just like on Mother's Day, almost a carbon copy day with the mid to upper 70s for most of us. Some areas closer to the water, nearer to 70, some of the higher elevations now, and some of the near water areas even in the mid to upper 60s, but that's with sun. Now notice down to our south, this little kind of pimple of cooler air. This is where the showers have been hanging out today with the 60s hanging in the greener shades, but then south and west of that, we are in a big heat bubble. Look at that, 90 at Memphis, 83 at Atlanta. We're going to get in on some of these warmer temperatures eventually back into the 70s to near 80. Tomorrow may be a little bit of a bump in the road as we get some cooler, cloudier weather in here. And look at that in Seattle, 85, several days of heat advisories on the way for those folks. HD radar, there's that diminishing rain south of Richmond toward Raleigh. And then a bunch of flooding rain, in fact, that flooded out places like St. Louis. Still some flood watches that are in place there. Well, that now is moving into the mid and deep south with thunderstorms. And that nice weather we're having right now with fair weather high pressure, well, that next weather maker is going to come in and take care of that as we head into tomorrow. Notice the rain showers beginning to develop into tomorrow, especially afternoon, evening. Let's go ahead and track it close up. Now, overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning, those temperatures settling to about 55 to 60. By tomorrow afternoon, clouds increase, mid to upper 70s. There are a couple of those spotty showers around toward tomorrow evening through about midnight into early Wednesday. Then we clear out, and it looks like it's cooler with sunshine returning. I'm going to let you know if that sticks around for Preakness in my exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Sunset in Seattle as the Pacific Northwest endures a rare May heat wave. Highs will likely remain in the 80s here and in Portland for much of the week. A waterspout was spotted on Mother's Day off the coast of South Carolina, and it appears an apartment building and not a pot of gold is at the end of this rainbow, even as rain continues to fall on Salt Lake City.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
A bulletproof addition to make classrooms safer. The solution one company is proposing to help protect Tennessee schools. A renewed focus in Tennessee on the concerns surrounding school safety following that March mass shooting at a private Christian school. Peyton Hughes from our Sinclair sister station in Nashville is taking a look at one security company's proposal.
We need to do just everything that we possibly can to make all of our schools safer, and I don't think right now that we've quite done enough.
Maddie Mitchell helped arrange for Alabama-based company KT Solutions to demonstrate their latest life-saving technology at a presentation in Cheatham County this week. Parents saw bulletproof military safe rooms converted for classrooms. These walls form a barrier that can't be pierced by gunfire. The company also showcased new gunfire detecting technology for hallways.
And things like monitors that are shooter detection systems that can pinpoint within under a second exactly where shots have been fired on campus.
Maddie Mitchell is the president of nonprofit Liam Changed the World, helping parents who've lost children. She's working with the company to fundraise to help offset costs, hopefully bringing their high-tech security measures to Tennessee schools.
I know as a mom, like my personal fear is sending my kids to school every day and getting that phone call that something's happened.
Governor Lee's budget dedicates $54 million specifically to physical security upgrades. Many parents, including one whose son attends the Covenant School, agree that these are just as important as the SROs the governor aims to have in every school building.
Put an SRO at the door against somebody with semi-automatic or automatic rifle is setting them up for failure.
State officials are directing school districts to begin assessing what safety improvements they'll need. Newman saying every school, student, and staff member deserves the same level of protection.
All right, let's take a look at that exclusive 10-day forecast, including Black-Eyed Susan Day and Preakness on Saturday, 76 and PM spot showers. For our Tuesday, that's mainly going to be south and west of Baltimore, but a few may sneak into the city for the PM commute.